Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy CF. Whoa, how we doing? Heard a little fuzz at the beginning, but I think we're good now. What's going on? It's your boy CF. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. We're going to talk some video games. We're going to listen to some chiptunes. We're going to have some fun. Okay, so this is being recorded on Saturday night. I did actually sit down to record last night, but it was more of like a Captain's Log, Vancast kind of thing. So we'll get to that in just a second. We're going to kick things off with a chiptune. Now, I don't have a mystery game this week. What I'd like to do is just go back to roots and play like a... just dig into my folders and play like a core chiptune groove. So let's see how it goes. Stick with us. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. That's Cleater from the Very Rare Formats compilation over at Battle of the Bits. Now, I haven't done much with Battle of the Bits in quite some time, but they did do a couple more releases over on Bandcamp. So if you dig the Battle of the Bits, it might be a good time to head over to that site and just check it out, see what kind of releases they've been doing lately, see what kind of competitions they have, and most of all, what kind of free chiptunes you can get from the contestant entries. Cleater, as you're probably aware, big staple mainstay name over at Battle of the Bits. Every single one of these releases he's on, and this one is no different. The Very Rare Formats that came out almost a year ago. I don't know how long ago it came out. I see his name on here 4 different times. And good for him, man. Good for him. That's a guy who's making quality tracks that get released for free to everyone. So awesome. Hats off to Cleater. Alright, so I do have this bit from yesterday I'm going to play. This, to me, when I listen to this again, it comes off more like, almost like a sleepover. Almost like like an old school, like junior high school sleepover and, play Nintendo 64 till late at night, all that stuff. I only got to do that a couple times, but anyway, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Stick with us. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. What's going on, everybody? It is late. It is the Captain's Log. This is the In Place of the Vancast. We're talking video games here. It's currently 9:59 on Friday night. I normally like to sit in the studio and do the Vancast, or do the show. But I just ran out of time. It was like 9 o'clock. I was just sitting in my office. And it's like I should have been like scraping and getting everything together, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But here I am, chilling in bed. after quite a long week. Tomorrow, I will be with the two bigger kids, and we'll have a couple hours to play some games and hang out. And yeah, and it'll be a good time. They'll probably play Terraria over a LAN, which they like to do. And I'll hold the little one, and we'll poke at a synthesizer and hang out. And that's usually our Saturday morning. I had a conversation with my oldest recently. I think this was I can't remember if this was early this morning or late last night, but we were in my office and we were talking video games. And he asked me if I could fire up the Dreamcast. My Dreamcast it's in perfectly working order, but it's been on ice for a while. It's been a little bit since I played the Dreamcast. He wanted to play Choo Choo Rocket. You know, we goofed around about the Choo Choo Rocket commercial last week, the Japanese commercial, and he had seen some Choo Choo Rocket Let's Plays via YouTube not too long ago. Oh gosh, excuse me. And he wanted to give it a try. Now, in the moment he brought it up, I couldn't bring myself to mess with all the cables. Like my system was not hooked up, like fired up, ready to go. It's the kind of thing where like I hadn't sat down with it in quite some time, and I would have had to make sure it was plugged in, and dusted off the controllers and got everything running. Like, it wouldn't have been that long, but to do something like that first thing in the morning or towards the end of the day is like, that can be a tough thing. I mean, that's the time where you want to have your video games like already set up. You want to sit down in a nest that's already established, where you're familiar, where your controller is exactly where you left it, where you got a little spot for your ice water or hot tea or coffee or whatever you're drinking, and just chill out. You know what I'm saying? That's not the time to break your setup apart and then rebuild it differently. Unless that's your thing. I don't know. I've had nights like that too, and that have actually been really, really fun. I think of my little tube TV and different ways I've had that set up in the past, particularly when my kids were a lot younger. I tried to do that move where you have all of the systems locked and ready to go, all hooked up at once. I've tried that. It didn't really work out for me. First of all, the TV is really small, so the end result is like a tiny little TV. Not that there's anything wrong with my TV, I like it, but it's a tiny little TV surrounded by like an enormous setup of systems. So there's nothing wrong with that, but it did look a little awkward. Second of all, what happened is when you get that many systems, you really got to be on top of your cable management, man, because it just becomes a spaghetti snake mess. And I've never been really great at cable management. Like, I've met people working in IT that are really, really good at it, so I know that there's a lot of like tricks you can use, and like if you're organized, you can really make it work. But it doesn't really work out that way for me. What often ends up happening is all of the cables get all mixed up, and then I end up having to search for the right AV or whatever whenever I want to. Switch the system, and ends up being a pain. I think the best I ever had a setup like that working was at one point I had like 6 or 7 systems or something crazy all hooked up, and I got a piece of paper and I drew a chart. And on that chart, it had the names of all my systems, and then 2 switch boxes, and then each switch box had its input numbered, and then a line drawn to the system. So if you wanted to play, if you wanted to play like the Sega Master System or something, you would see, all right, turn the TV to AV2, and AV2 goes to switch box 2, and then in switch box 2, the 4th input is the Master System. I had that working for a while, and I honestly can't remember why that got taken apart. But yeah, I haven't played the Master System in a while. That'd be fun to play again. I really just like great baseball, I'm going to be honest. acquiring the Master System and learning its quirks, and I think was a positive experience. I liked playing Altered Beast on the Master System, even though the Genesis version is way better. Phantasy Star is a great game, although I don't actually have it for the Master System. I have it on the Wii. But the original Phantasy Star, good game. But when it boils down to it, when I hook when I hook up the Master System, there's two games that I really enjoy. Not for novelty's sake, not for look at the technology. No, there's two games that I really had a good time playing on the Sega Master System. One was Hang On, not Super Hang On, but the original Hang On, which I had in a double cart with some sort of Zapper game I never played. Hang On was one, and the other was Great Baseball. I think those are both legit enjoyable games. They took all the fielding out of Great Baseball. There's no fielding. It's the best. Trying to field in a baseball video game it's the worst. Okay, take Bo Jackson's 2-in-1 football baseball. All right. Yeah, I know. Stick with me. You hit that ball. Excuse me. All right. Computer's up at bat. Okay, you're you the player. You're out in the field. All right, we'll say it's seventh inning. It's a tie game. It's been pretty close. Okay. So you got runners on first and second. So you're trying to keep the computer team scoreless, and the pressure's on because it's starting to slip. Okay, runners on first and second, but there's 2 outs. So it could go either way. All right. So the pitch is thrown. The batter hits it into left field. It goes it goes right past the shortstop. So if you're playing, you're probably guiding the shortstop towards the line of fire of the ball. Okay. But if the ball shoots past the shortstop, now the left fielder has also been going in the direction that you've been previously moving the shortstop, and thus running away from the ball. This makes fielding on Bo Jackson's 2-in-1 baseball incredibly difficult. Most retro baseball games did the same thing. RBI Baseball on the Nintendo did the same thing. If you're moving left and right as a fielder, then it moves the entire team left and right in unison, and you just have to figure out who you're going to move. I can only think of I played a game on the original PlayStation that did it a lot better. But Great Baseball just gets rid of all that. Look, you can pick the pitch and you swing the bat. We're going to take care of everything else. And that's all I needed. That's all I wanted. That's why I think Great Baseball is a legitimate, entertaining baseball game, because it's the only retro baseball game that I've ever played that does that. How we doing? Wow, that was a mighty tangent. What was I even talking about? How did I get... Oh, Dreamcast, right? Yeah, so my kiddo wants to play some Choo Choo Rocket, and I didn't have it in me to hook it up at the time. But now I wish I had, because Choo Choo Rocket would be fun, man. I honestly think that's all I got now. I just left this thing paused, thinking, all right, we're going to head out and see if I can find anything else good worth going over. And I think it's been almost a half an hour now. And I just came up with a great big goose egg. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to go to sleep now. Tomorrow morning, game with the kids. And then tomorrow night we'll do the complete show and get it all wrapped up. All right, boys and girls. I'll see you back in the studio. Back again in the studio. Feels good, man. Feels good to be hanging out, talking some games. You know, I got to play earlier today. I got to play FIFA Road to World Cup '98. It's just one of those Japanese import PS1 games I got a hold of. I didn't really have high hopes for it because I've never been much of a FIFA guy. But the last FIFA game I remember playing was it was on the Sega Genesis, and I want to say FIFA 96, but I'd have to go back and check that date again. But one of the Sega Genesis FIFA games, and it looked great. Even for a Sega game, it looked amazing, but it just played too weird. Like, they tried to make it so that you couldn't your players were realistic, like they couldn't stop on a dime. If they're trucking full speed down a soccer field, you can't just stop on a dime. There's some turnaround to it, but what ended up happening was just a game that just felt too weird to control. So as much as I liked the way it looked, I couldn't really get into it. So this is the first soccer game I've really tried since then, FIFA 98. Gotta say, pretty sweet for a football game. A lot of it is in English. This is EA Sports. It's in the game, that era, you know. And there's a lot of English, so it's very playable. But the announcer announces in Japanese, which I love. I love it. I love it so much. I looked up PS1 FIFA to see if there was like an North American release equivalent of the same game. I don't know. There are a lot of FIFA games on the PS1, so I don't know the answer to that. But yeah, I'm having fun with it, man. I'm thinking like that PS1 era was a good time for sports games. You know, because we always talk about how terrible sport. You know, if you're spending a bunch of money on Madden, the latest Madden game, yeah, okay, sure, it's great. The Madden games are good football games, but it's the same game we got last year, right? Okay, well, that doesn't make them bad games. It just means they age very, very poorly in some cases. But I don't know. Something about that PS1 era. I remember Knockout Kings 2000 we had back in the day when it was new, and that was a great game. I would love to play Knockout Kings again. So I played FIFA World Cup '98. Now let's be fair. I played this game for probably 15 minutes. And I loved... Okay, my favorite part about these old PS1 games is the full motion video. There's a lot of stock full motion video, the stock footage of individuals playing the football with rock music over it. As a matter of fact, very specifically, the song was called Song 2 from Blur. Do you guys remember that song? It's the same song they used in the commercials for the movie Starship Troopers. I used to really dig that song. So it's cool to see it turn up in a ridiculous introduction to FIFA Road to World Cup '98. Yeah, okay. And I think that's about all I have to say about that. As far as my PS1 collection is concerned, lately I played that, but more often than not, what I play is Ridge Racer. I'll put in Ridge Racer and go around the track a couple times, and then I tried Bust a Move this past week, and that was pretty fun too. But yeah, that's about it on that. All right, so I'll tell you what. We are almost at the 20-minute mark, and right around this time is when I like to tip my hat and give a little love to the sponsors, okay? This is a Patreon-sponsored program, so when I talk about the sponsors, I'm not talking about companies. I'm talking about individuals who made the decision to give of their resources to keep TCR on the air no matter what. So I tip my hat to them. I offer early access to the show. As soon as I get it done, there's no definitive time, but as soon as I get it done, I put it up on the Patreon so that they can get a copy of the MP3. And I also read their names off here on the air in sort of a hall of distinguished gentlemen. And they are Hemrock, EmeraldRangers.com, Tecmo Balls, Darabka, Konstantin Kelman, and Eric Controller. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you're enjoying the party. Everybody stay safe and play some video games. All right, should we do one more from Cleater? I'm kind of feeling Cleater right now. I consider Cleater like the Battle of the Bits, like, heavyweight champion. Let's see. Let's play another. This is also from the very rare formats. That last one was specifically it was Cleater and Triple P. doing a collaboration. They had a couple on that album. This one's going to be just Cleater. This is called Rare PCX on Tiger Claw Radio. Back again in the studio. Okay, we are 22 minutes in. It's a little bit early to do Failbag. A little bit early, but I got one from Hemrock, which I was so happy to hear from Hemrock again. So I want to shift gears, go to the Failbag just a wee bit early. That's okay. I want to read Hemrock's email. So stick with me. What I'm doing right now is trying to get a Gmail window open. I keep opening the same window by accident. Why am I doing that? I can't be that absent-minded. Yeah, here we go. Earlier today, I was working with Python, trying to learn some Python coding. Working on a little like console program. The whole idea is playing Territory Idle. I wanted to be able to calculate, okay, how long is it gonna take from right now to achieve this goal in Territory Idle? If I just walk away from the game, when can I come back? So I was developing like a calculator program to determine that, and I got it working in Python. The script is pretty simple. You take in 3 inputs. How many are you getting per second? How many is the goal, and how many do you have now? Pretty simple. Take the goal, you subtract how much you have now to get the true goal, and then you divide it by the gold per second, or whatever it is per second, and there you go. So I wrote up a test script. It worked just fine, but I wanted to alter it. The problem was it was all one gigantic function, which is generally speaking a no-no in programming, because none of it gets harder to expand upon it if you do it that way, for one thing. And there was also 0 error handling. So like if you typed in a negative number, or no, if you just hit enter instead of typing in a number, it would crash out. It would like bomb out for certain reasons, things like that. So I'm still working with it, not because I need a more sophisticated calculator for Territory Idle, but because I'm interested in getting a little bit more Python experience under my belt. So that's been fun. I haven't decided the best way to share that thing, though. I don't know if it's to just post the source somewhere and say, hey, you guys can go get Python and then compile this script, or get a compiler and see if I can generate like an executable. I don't know. I'm still pretty new at Python. But it's been fun, man. It's been real fun. All right, so let's head over to EP release. No, not that one. Okay, yeah, here we go. Where's my boy? Failbag, Funky Action Edition. Greetings and salutations, Critical Failure. I hope you're doing well. To answer your question about Civilization 2 Gold Empire, one of my chosen games. Golden Edition, one of my chosen games. I believe I sent it to you in 2010, early 2011. I remember where I purchased that game. It was on a road trip where I stopped at some random thrift store, and there was Civilization 2, complete in box and near mint condition. Since I already have the game, I figured I'd send it to you. And yes, I also remember when we Skyped years ago and walked you through how to play the game. I've heard you tell me that story a couple of times, Hemrock, and I never get tired of it. But back to the email. Have you ever tried the Call to Power series? Currently, I'm playing Call to Power 2 with the Apolitan mod. It's like Civ 2, but you can build underwater cities. I have never tried that. I do know that I gave it a serious look when it surfaced on Steam, but I didn't buy it at the time, and I forgot about it through the recent sale. Now, you may remember, I guess you've been away for a little while, but Steam just had its major summer sale, and it just came to a close like a week ago or more. I'm looking it up right now. Call to Power 2 is $5.99. Let's take a look. Basically, what I'm looking for now is some of these old games, when you look them up on Steam, they have low ratings, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's just because people don't understand the old games, right? Like, of course, Falcon is going to be rated really low. That's a 1980s flight simulator. But when you actually read the reviews, you got to be careful, because some of them are like, this was a great game back in the day, but this particular implementation sucks real bad. So that's what I'm looking for right now. The Steam version is the GOG version. I know this because there's a file named GOG, and the GOG forums report all the same problems. It runs runs the same as the disc version, except the music is no longer on a disc in the CD track format, but in a folder as OGG files. Therefore, the music will not work in-game. An external player is required. The original disc would even work in a CD player, for example. You could play the music in a car, but the music is an original orchestral soundtrack, and it's quite good, but it's short because of the limited space on a 700 megabyte CD. Music aside, the Steam and the disc versions work perfectly fine on Windows 10, etc. And it goes on and on and on. Yeah, it seems to work okay. Some music issues, but not so bad. Yeah, I'm down. Man. The only thing that's stopping me is I'm saving for Behringer TD3. That's the base simulator. But this has been on my wish list for some time. Look at that. It does look a lot like Civ 2, doesn't it? All right, let's get back to the email. I got sidetracked again. I never played it, though. I think that was your question. Have I ever played it? And the answer is no. The answer is no. But I'm down. He goes on. Your story about Alfred Chicken on the NES reminds me of the YouTube Let's Players of old, before the term was a common moniker. They would even open up their barrel of ROMs. They would open up their barrel of ROMs and find a random NES game and start playing. Man, I miss YouTube when the creators were just creating for the lulz and not for the monies. To answer your question, I've never played Alfred Chicken, although now I want to. Do you not like Firefox? What do you use instead? All right, let's break so we can answer this Firefox question. I do use Firefox, as a matter of fact, but it has problems. I don't think any of the browsers are perfect. They all have their different quirks. I use Firefox because it's the most customizable. It's been open to plugins for the longest time, and so it has the most plugin support and the most range of plugins available for it. But it's also a resource hog, especially if you dip into like the wide array of plugins. Each one seems to add more resources that it takes up. So it is the most resource hungry of the big three. But I prefer it over Google's Chrome browser because I'm not really a fan of Google's privacy philosophy, which is there is no privacy. I'm not a big anti-Google guy. Like I have a Gmail account and I use YouTube, so I'm okay on that front. But I don't know, I just like Firefox. Back to the email. It's exciting to hear that you're coming out with some new music. Long live the amazing Green Leo Starship. Thanks, man. I do have a new Bandcamp account for my little record label project, and that has 2 new Greenleo albums on it. They're both like impromptu jam albums. They're not the chiptune albums that you're used to. They're more like that one. What was it that I did? I did like a really bad album with a Korg Volca keys, and it's more like that. Like, I don't know how much you would dig it, but definitely check it out. Community Modular and Electronics, CME is what I'm calling it. And I have 2 other people right now who are working on albums to release with me. So think of CME more like in video game terms, like a clan. Okay, this is the way I explain it. Back in the old days, you'd get your clan, and you guys would meet on Ventrilo or Mumble, which was the case for me, and you'd just hang out and play your video games. Well, CME is my clan for people who are into synthesizers and electronic music and whatever. The ethos right now is don't overthink it, just record a jam and we'll put it out. That's what it is. Don't overthink it. It's okay. You can do the crazy ambient stuff where it's just like, that's fine. That's fine. It's just us hanging out anyway. Nothing wrong with that, man. That's not to say that I'm gonna trash my old my old account. That's not going anywhere. I'll definitely release more stuff on that as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm in this hyper zone of learning and making music. So I wanted to find a different way to put it out. So I don't know. That's that. I gotta be careful about going down that rabbit hole, because I can just about that all evening. Let's get back to the email. Emails from Sendu warmed the soul. I'm on board for Tigerfest. My core graphics is standing by for Dungeon Explorer action, and I'm confident Surge will still be available in the interwebs that we can import to the event. Yeah, man. Can't wait. We gotta wait for this whole COVID-19 thing to blow over. I want to make sure everybody's safe. We're kind of freaked out now still. Like, we're not going anywhere. For a while, but when it's over, yeah, absolutely, man, I cannot wait. We'll have Surge. There's going to be a Waffle House, and or what's the place that's next to Waffle House all the time? Cracker Barrel, Little Tube TV, and some Vidya games. Sounds good, man. All right. Yeah, back to the email. So what's happening with archive.org? Is it shutting down? And then he says, Dave's song brings back such great memories of early TCR. Yeah, that track's been with me since like the very, very beginning. And I set that up on a whim too. It's not like I put a lot of thought into which tracks would be associated with the show. Keep rolling retro, my friend. Hemrock. P.S. Funky action! If there was ever like a sound that I wanted to go clip out and put on a soundboard, it's funky action from that commercial. All right, we got a few things here that I want to address. Archive.org. I really don't know what's going on, but I've had multiple people tell me to be careful that it could not be around for very long. So I've been meaning to go there and snag the TCR archive in its entirety. Is archive.org going down? Let's see what we find. Is archive.org going down? First result: Avengers: The Hunt for Spider-Man, Chapter 2. Don't know. All right. Was there anything else? I feel like there was one more thing that I didn't address in that email. Archive.org, Dave's song, funky action, Surge, and the interwebs. Our boy Sendu, still hanging tough out there in his place. Sendu, man, I hope life is good, brother. And that's it. What an awesome email. Thanks, Hemrock, man. It's good to hear from you. I hope you're staying safe. Hope you're playing some games. Hope you got that GBA still warmed up, ready to go. Are you still playing Final Fantasy Tactics Advance? Yeah. All right. Let's shift gears and head over to YouTube and see what we got. Excuse me, the old YouTube studio is loading. Let's see how we're doing. 4 subscribers in the last 28 days. Pretty awesome. I love it. welcome 4 subscribers. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Even if you're just hanging around, catching a minute here, a minute there, and you just leave the subscription, whatever. I'm glad you cared enough to hit that button. It looks like last week's episode got a copyright claim, which is just fine. It's A-okay. A-okay. I don't make any money from YouTube at all, so go for it. Go for it, man. Get all the 14 views of revenue for yourselves. You guys can have it. That's A-okay. All right, let's click on comments and see what we got. Get rid of the ones I've responded to filter. Yes. Okay, there's Swingle 5 days ago, 5 days ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago. All right, when's the last one I actually put up? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right. Feeling great. That was a week ago. Mystery game reminds me of Jukebox Break. That's Sendu last week. I put up a little video right after I did the recording, just saying, "Hey, everything's it's coming. I hope everybody's doing well." And I got one from Maximum RD, aka Rob, old staple in YouTube. This guy's been around forever. Rob, brother, I hope you're doing well. And he puts, "Hi, you look baked" in the thumbnail. Glad you're well. Yeah, 100% sober. I walked a straight and narrow, good buddy. But it's awesome to hear from you. Yeah, man, I remember Maximum RD putting comments and being really involved in the community back like in my early days here on YouTube. So that's awesome. That's a channel that's been around a long time. Long time. What's on my shelf? Good old Mecha Menace writes, "You look like a German I used to know." 9! Death Adder, I'm beginning to wonder if this man was ever going... I'm reading this wrong. I'm beginning to wonder if this man was ever going to grow a beard. About darn time. Kind of have an old school Triple H look to it. Definitely keep it. Just awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm enjoying having a beard. I like it. I like scratching it and stuff like that. It's cool. Got a few grays just around my mouth. Just like in the little corner of my mouth area, there's a couple of grays, which I'm not gonna lie, freaked me out a little bit at first, because it reminded me of death. That's right, friends. The Grim Reaper is coming for you. Gray hairs are just a reminder. My father-in-law warned me not to pull one out. He said, "Don't pluck it, because 5 more will come to the funeral." All right. Light Studios. I laughed too hard when you smashed your hand on the desk. Sorry, bro. It's pretty funny. Did I smash my hand on the desk on the air? Light Studios, our good buddy Sendu. I don't know where Hemrock lives, but the halfway point between us, according to Google, is Morgantown, West Virginia. Absolutely, Sendu. West Virginia is very drivable. It's a beautiful state, too. West Virginia is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I would love to drive to West Virginia for Tiger Fest. That would be great. I was expecting, with the whole Tiger Fest plan, I was expecting something much more difficult than that. Like I was expecting like a 2 states over kind of deal. But I used to work years ago when I lived probably about 100 miles north of where I am now. I used to work in this sort of tri-state, not the tri-state area, because that's usually like you think of that as like the New York type area, but West Virginia, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and then like some of northern Maryland. I used to work when I was in plumbing. I used to work all around all of there. Oops, pop. Sorry. Yeah. So I got to see some of the woodsy areas in West Virginia. Nice. It's very nice. Windy roads. But yeah, good stuff. Actually, yeah. I want to look that up, but I'm not going to take a break right now and Google it. But what I will do is I'm going to take this comment and I'm going to drop it in a text file so that I know to check it out later. Drop down just a little bit, and there it is. Okay. Thumbs up, and that one gets a heart. Light Studios, 5 days ago. Finally caught up. These mandatory masks at work have been helpful for hiding earbuds to aid in backlog. Be careful about talking about work on the internet, bro. They'll come for you. I'll make it a point to remain caught up now. Yes, I used to play Hamachi Terraria with you. However, a bit of time after that, I got super hooked and nearly got all the achievements in the game. I still feel a little bad about the paddle. I even paid a little extra to get that one cleaned and tested. Don't feel bad about the paddle, dude. Don't feel bad about it. I'm going to take it apart. We'll scrape the potentiometer. It's going to work just fine. Don't feel bad at all. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's so awesome that you got caught up in TCR and you're hanging out with us again. Hope you're doing well. I really do, man. I'm glad to hear you're working and keeping it together. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. We got one more from him. He says, the most I've spent on a video game, I believe, was for my copies of the Shining Force CD and Shining Force 3. I also once had Saturn Bomberman, but I was forced to give that up, so I don't count it. Man. Shining Force games were good. I remember Shining Force 2 when I was in middle school. A couple of people had copies of Shining Force 2 and they got like passed around and they ended up getting stolen. I think both of them. But yeah, those are good games. Desm 101, good buddy Desm, writes 37 minutes in. I have seen Alfred Chicken in comic book ads, and among retro gaming circles, it's considered an obscure, bizarre release for Game Boy and NES, if even remembered at all. 48 minutes in. Hey, sounds good to me. I'll shoot you an email so we can talk more about putting a release together. He's talking about the CME. That'd be awesome, bro. 55 minutes in. Yeah, I feel the majority of Japanese box art, ads, and commercials were mostly significantly better than what we got here, although not always the case. Yeah, I'm with you on that. But see, here's the thing. When I think of the Japanese art, I don't just think of it as better or worse, but rather closer to the original vision. Do you know what I mean? If you've got games that are conceived and designed by the Japanese counterparts, right? That's what think of. Okay, the first example that comes to mind is the original Mega Man. Now everybody bags on the original Mega Man's NES art, the North American NES release art, because it was really bad. You know, people talk about bad box art. That one always comes up. But what strikes me as weird about the case of the original Mega Man was not just that the box art was bad, but the original Famicom box art was so spot on. It was like the anime Mega Man. It's exactly what the design was supposed to look like. It looked great. So the Japanese versions were the embodiment of the original vision, whereas the North American version, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, the North American versions were like version 2.0 of the original vision. It was the original vision put through the filter of a localization. Now, some games made it through that filter very, very well and did okay. All right, our copy of Legend of Zelda for the NES is a great, great looking game. Just as a for instance, I don't know. And some games not so much. I don't know. It's really great to see how some of those games got realized in Japan. So yeah, sometimes better, sometimes not, but always different and always fascinating, in my opinion. It's been really cool to get my hands on some Japanese PS1 games. That's been a lot of fun. I also really like Game Boy. The original Game Boy is a great system to import for. No region locking whatsoever. You just get the gray Game Boy carts. They show up. You stick them right in your machine. No problems. No problems. They made it easy. Desm, brother. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you're having a good time. Let's see. Macamenus writes, seconds in. Oh yeah, he's talking to the mystery game last week. Seconds in. I don't know if Tomb Raider is an easy guess. Most tracks have an ambient or slow, relaxing feel and may not stick out in the plethora of gaming musicology. Though it was a popular game, the composer was really in sync with the game's design. Amen. The Tomb Raider series started off as a slower-paced thinking gamers platformer. I'm not sure whether the decision was made because it was easier to program the physics and animation, but it really lent to the idea that this is a puzzle and platforming game, and the enemy encounters punctuate that serenity every now and then and serve a danger track and deserve a danger track that stands out from the rest. Wake up! I remember the galloping mummies to this day. Yes, the galloping mummies. Okay. I think of Tomb Raider 1 in a very, very nostalgic, romantic way, and I still think it's fun to go back and play. But I'm 100% at grips with its flaws. The ending of the original Tomb Raider, and when I say the ending, I'm not talking about the ending sequence. I'm talking about like the last handful of levels. The ending is very weak. Not just the galloping mummies, but the big boss mummy that's like almost like a turkey with no legs, and it like drags itself around with its huge arms. That's a weird boss, man. That goes up there with like some of the weirdest bosses I think I've ever seen. This is that one from the original Tomb Raider. Still a great game. It doesn't make it a bad game. Just ending bit needed a little work. Okay, 35 minutes in and 28 seconds. Now, he didn't put any sort of, what do you call it? Yeah, he just put a time signature. Let's see what it was. Going to eBay. Looking at something on eBay apart from synthesizers and synthesizer gear. I think it is. I think he's just making fun of this sound I was making. What are you gonna do? And then he gives a YouTube reply. Let's see what we got. It's loading. Commander Keen dies on a turd. Oh, I see. Yes, that does sound an awful lot like the sound I was making. Let's see, hear that one more time. Here it comes. Ba 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 ba. Then we go to Commander Keen. All right, I'll give you that. That's very well done. Very well done indeed. All right, how did we do? I navigated away from my page. Yeah, here we go. The American commercial for Jet Grind Radio is the most Japanese commercial I've ever seen. I want to say that game succeeded, but maybe it was because the magazines I read praised the game and pointed out the breathtaking new style of graphics and infusion of Japanese culture. I didn't think the Jet Grind Radio series succeeded at all. I thought, in fact, that those were very much cult classic games that had just a die-hard following that's played those games for years and years and years. But I didn't think, at least at the time of release, I don't remember it being successful. Am I wrong about this? Because otherwise we would have seen like a Jet Grind Radio on everything. I don't know. Maybe I got that all wrong. But I'd have to look it up. Any love for the Sonic Spinball soundtrack minus the options menu? Yeah, it's pretty good. Here's the thing about Sonic Spinball. I was always under the impression there was more to that game, but I couldn't really get very far in it. So I only really remember playing in the sewers. Okay? Now, I'm told that there's more to that game than just that, but I've only ever played the sewers. It's a good game, though. What else we got? Yeah, that's Mecha Menace. Good to hear from you, brother. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking in. Hope you're doing well. Death Adder writes, They Live is a classic. I believe that fight scene is supposed to be the longest in any movie ever. South Park even had Timmy and Jimmy recreate that fight in an old episode, I believe. I've never seen a topic derail your train of thought more than Alfred Chicken. Well, yeah, Alfred Chicken. I had a Vita in 2013. I was bored and wanted a new toy, so I picked one up. Then I instantly realized it ain't got no games. I would not recommend it personally, but then again, I feel like I've outgrown handhelds in general. Persona 4 was pretty cool on it, though. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know where I'm at with handhelds either. I like them, but it's a system. You're buying any kind of system, then you're making some sort of commitment to spend time with it. Whether it's a handheld, whether you're buying an Atari, whether you're building a computer, whatever system you're getting, you it's got to be something you want to spend time with. So the thing about handhelds is if you're getting a handheld you're only going to play on the go, then you got to be somewhere where you'll use it, and we're all kind of in lockdown right now, so I don't know, man. Maybe I could see having a handheld at work, and then because I always get one in the office, I would always get there super early, like half an hour plus early, just to chill in my cube and have breakfast. I could see getting a Vita to use like there, in that case, not just a Vita, but like any decent handheld. I don't know, but I haven't been in the cubicle in a while. Been home with the family. Death Adder, brother. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you're drinking tons of Surge and reviewing soda pops. Take care, man. It's good to hear from you. I don't always get to hear from Death Adder. Eric Kentroller says, I have not played Alfred Chicken. There are many NES games I have yet to play. Emphasis on yet. Eric, do you emulate? I know not everybody does. Now, you and I haven't known each other for as long as some of these other clowns. What do you ever do the ROMs and the emus? Because a lot of these games, like Alfred Chicken in particular, that's how I ended up playing them, was through ROMs and emus. I mean, let's be honest. I can probably find a couple of games I haven't played. I've never played Panic Restaurant. I've never played. What's that other game? Bubble Bobble Part 2, which is really expensive. I'm sure there's some games I've never played, but yeah, I don't know. I played that one. Hope you're doing well. Hey, one more from Light Studios. I didn't know you could high-pitch laugh like Kaiser. Yeah, it takes something. He puts a time signature. I kind of want to hear this. Let's pop it open. Also, to be fair, $200 is not normal for the Vita. That's the inflated lockdown price. Okay. Yeah, that's. I don't do it much. It takes something special to get me to do that. But I did it then. Somebody left some sort of link on my Menu Works video. Is that like a download link? What does he have here? Oh, Windows 3.1 stuff. Instructions for getting Windows 3.1. Oh, that might be fun. I don't know. Another day. And this one, the last one we have, really warms my heart. This one's going to get a heart, and it's going to get a thumbs up, and even a pin. Can I pin it? Always approve comments from this user. Yes. That's from Alex Swingle, and he writes, I've watched yours and Sendu's LPs. I would like you both to record more. It brings great merriment to my heart. Alex, my brother, I would be happy to record more LPs for you. Somehow I will get it done. Now, he left that comment on Monday Night Morrowind, also known as the series that really brought Tiger Claw TV to its knees. Lost a lot of subscribers putting out Monday Night Morrowind. But hell, man, if you want to watch it again, I'll make more. I don't care. That's fun. I liked playing it. Hope you're doing well, man, Alex. Oh, I really do. We got two that are marked as likely spam, and they look like spam. What are you going to do? All right, let's see if I can pull this off now. Is that better? It's not too loud, is it? There we go. There we go. You guys know what that song means. That's Dave's song from Maniac Mansion. Whatever it is you're doing out there, I'm rooting for you. I really am. Hang in there. Don't let this staying inside stuff get you down. Play some video games. Give your ma a call if she's still around. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. I'll see you next week.